Well, already this is going to be fun. I am talking with violinist Yuel Yawney. He is a member of Borealis String Quartet who are coming to Santa Barbara. We're going to talk about their performance coming up on Thursday, March 31st in the beautiful, charming little chamber music hall at the Museum of Art here in Santa Barbara. But as you can see, Yuel is in his vehicle and he is in Vancouver. Apparently that you were able to get a little couple of days anyway in Vancouver, BC. I should make sure everybody's clear, not Washington, no offense. Vancouver, BC, but because you were in Palm Springs a couple 3 days ago. I saw that on Facebook, and then
Yes.
Waynesboro, Virginia. What's the story?
Yes, we just got back last night from Waynesboro. Flew out of Richmond and got home late last night. So it's great to be home. We were on the road for about 11 days or so. And visited a lot of the U.S. from California, North Dakota, Minnesota, Illinois, Virginia, and well, Palm Springs, as you mentioned. That was a bonus. I got to stay a couple of days extra there and before the concert and soak up some rays.
So we're talking cold, hot. Palm Springs, and now do you just come back and do a quick one in Santa Barbara, or are you doing a little bit of a tour in
we're going to be in Healdsburg, north of San Francisco, and then after you in Borrego Springs. So back to some of the heat
nice. There. Sounds nice. Okay, well, let me do a little bit of the sell here, and then we'll talk some questions. Again, I'm referring to the Borealis String Quartet coming to Santa Barbara, the Mary Craig Auditorium at the Santa Barbara Museum of Art at 7:30 p.m. Thursday, March 31st, coming up, I guess, a couple of weeks. Tickets are $22 and $18 for museum members. Hello, museum members, $18, $22 for the general public.
Deal.
Beautiful, very good deal, very charming, very modern, very interesting little chamber hall at the Museum of Art. Very easy to get tickets online. All of you that are watching in Southern California, simply sbma.net. Once more, sbma.net, Santa Barbara Museum of Art.net. And there's a phone number, sure. All of you in Southern California, again, the area code in Santa Barbara is area code 805. The telephone number, I suppose, weekdays, this is the Museum of Art's telephone number, is 884-6423 in Santa Barbara. And here's what you're going to get. Bear with me a moment longer. Clean the windows. Do whatever's going on just for a minute. An amazing, very, very interesting program. We're talking Beethoven Fourth String Quartet. Very interesting, very aggressive, already very eccentric, fascinating piece. Shostakovich number 9 String Quartet. Well, very dark, very serious, very moving, profound, deep, fabulous encounter with the music of Shostakovich. And then, I'm not alone. I'm sure most Americans are saying to themselves, Imant Raminch? Who is this guy?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I feel better. Thank you for that caress. Imant Carlis Raminch, I looked him up even, his String Quartet number 3, commissioned by the Borealis String Quartet, a little over a year ago?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
yes.
2015. Yeah?
Yeah, we premiered it in September of last year.
And as I was speaking a little bit earlier before we pushed record, Raminch is apparently most famous, at least for now, as a choral composer. I hope I'm not getting in trouble here, but beautiful, beautiful choral writing.
Oh yes, he's really, really very well known for his choral repertoire, and it's just beautiful. I think he met with Penderecki, and they did a performance of a mutual concert of choral music once, and but yeah, he has this very lush and harmonious language that I think translates to his string quartet as well. So he's a violinist and so can write quite well with strings as well.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to hearing that, and I did have a chance to hear some of his choral music on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for existing. What a treat for the world. Beautiful. And if there's any such thing as, I'm in trouble, I'm sure, again, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but something about some of the choral music I listened to had a Canadian Plains Do you know what I'm trying to say? That Americanness
Yes.
moved a little further north into the great plains of Canada, something like that, but a very North American, at very least, temperament and consciousness. I think beautiful.
Yes,
So
yes, an
very,
expansiveness and a real sense of grandeur in terms of natural and surroundings and that. For
really
sure.
looking forward to that. So we've got Beethoven, we got Shostakovich, and we have Raminch. Very, very interesting, very unique program being performed by Borealis String Quartet. Vancouver, BC based. I think we established that some while ago. Okay, here goes with the questions, okay?
Yes.
First one off the top of my head is I saw that the quartet is really reasonably young, founded in 2000, if I have that correctly.
That's correct, yes.
And you will remind me of the cellist who recently, your first kind of moment where you had to kind of readjust personnel a bit. When was that, a couple years ago?
Yes, that's just, let's see. Song Young joined us in last summer, in fact.
Wow.
He's fit in so well. We're just delighted. I mean, personality and his connection with the group, as well as musically, it's just been a fabulous marriage. I think he'll be amazed. We certainly feel this way anyway. How well he's fit in to the sound of the group and the whole temperament that we have as an ensemble. So it's a challenging thing to do. Find a person that matches and fits well. It's not only the how well a person plays, but personality is so important to be able to communicate together, and as well as be able to share artistically in the whole process. So
absolutely, very, very problematic when those moments happen. That's why I asked the question, and you've made it clear that things are moving right along.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yes.
You give us a brief rundown, because it's fairly impressive. Thanks to the Canada Council and the BC Arts Council. Please tell us the instrument you play and all of the wonderful, authentic instruments you play.
Yes. Well, you're right. We're very grateful to the financial assistance from the Canada Council and the BC Arts Council. It's tremendously important to have this governmental funding to help artists. And yes, you mentioned instruments, and we were tremendously fortunate to have a quartet of instruments on loan to us from a foundation, and they included, the violin I was playing is made in 1698, a Rogeri violin, and there were a Storioni violin as well. I forget the date, 1740, I think, and a cello also from that time frame, and then viola, Montagazza viola. So yeah, they were just fantastic instruments.
Was there any kind of, how does it, I'm looking for a fun answer, but something about, is there anything really, rather, and it's also serious, is there something magical about that?
Definitely. I mean, the fact that they're this old, and that they've sort of been seasoned and have been used by other professionals, it is unique. I mean, I try to grapple with the whole idea that these are instruments or tools of artistic expression that were created 300 years or more ago, and they're still being used for their initial purpose. And I can't think of anything else that's ever, that people use in a day-to-day basis in their work that is that precious and that old. So that aspect alone is of amazement to me. But also, there's a certain quality of sound and a connection that we as artists can have with these instruments too, that I think comes through in the performance. So
yeah, and those other fingers that were on that keyboard. I mean, were on that fingerboard. The history.
I mean, that's true. I mean, the instruments of themselves, they don't make any noise. So it is really the players. That's a good point.
Tell me a little bit. Run me by the program a little bit. Beethoven, Shostakovich, and Raminch.
Certainly, be happy to. Well, first of all, we're delighted to be coming back to Santa Barbara and playing in the museum. We did so. I think we were here maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I can't exactly remember, but it's a delightful venue. We just love playing there. It's intimate and the sound is just great. So I'm sure those of your listeners who've been and can remember and recall, it's just a wonderful place to be. So we're looking forward to coming and performing. But Beethoven, this is a really special quartet, I think. He wrote this early in his career. He moved to Vienna and was sort of looking at the music of his predecessors, Mozart and Haydn, and trying to establish himself. So I think all of the hallmark aspects of Beethoven are present already in this great piece. You know, it has a tremendous dynamic contrast and intensity, as well as just an emotional complexity that I think is really unique to Beethoven. So it's just wonderful to play. It's so much fun, and I think that it communicates a lot to the audience. Each of the movements of that quartet are quite well. I mean, they're completely different, but as a whole, it fits together as a great piece. So we're excited to be performing it, and it's I mean, physically, it's a demanding piece. You know, we seem to really thrive with the kind of music that is demanding of us, and we just thoroughly enjoy this quartet. It's really you know, the vigor, youthful vitality comes out in this music of Beethoven for sure.
And now Shostakovich, we're talking 1963-64. I mean, the Cold War is in its darkest moments, on and on and on. And of course, this number 9 quartet of Shostakovich is tough.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. It speaks to the history and the era. And the sense with this piece is that you know, Shostakovich is communicating through music the suffering and the tragic circumstances that people were living under in that time, and although it's maybe not quite as emotionally tragic as the number 8 quartet, which is quite famous. I think this quartet, in some ways, is more interesting. He's exploring a lot of tonalities and ways of expressing the music that I think are really amazing. It's a underappreciated and performed quartet, in my opinion, but we thoroughly enjoy playing it because of its again, there are 5 movements, each of which is speaks to a different emotional aspect of the piece, and have yet this wonderful thread that connects to the end of the piece and builds momentum and intensity as it progresses. So it's I think a wonderful. It's really a wonderful, moving experience for the listener.
Yeah. And Imant Carlos Ramench's Quartet number 3, written for you guys. Give me just a brief little overview of how long it took you to chase him down. I mean, there's a joke about when number 4 quartet's going to come out. I read something about that. But tell us, give us a hint, Americans, what we're going to experience with that 3rd quartet.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, it's a great pleasure to play his music. We've had a connection with him for a number of years. This is the 3rd quartet of his we've premiered, and thoroughly love his musical expression. It's another unique voice, and I think what makes it special, especially in this program, is the tone of it is a very in great contrast to both the Beethoven and the Shostakovich. Has a very uplifting and a very romantic but fresh kind of sound to it.
How about healing?
Yeah, that's a very nice way of putting it. Healing, indeed.
After those 2 previous works, the young, angst-ridden Beethoven, the storm and stress of that man always, the Shostakovich and its revelation of that horrible period in history, and then we have Ramesh's quartet that I presume is going to be uplifting. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, no, I think it was nicely put the way you suggested
Yeah.
that a healing aspect. It's and that way I think it rounds out the program in a more uplifting and positive respect. So the music itself is not exceedingly complex or challenging to listen to. It's very soothing and welcoming, I would suggest, and just beautiful in its lush and warmth, the quality of sound it has. So.
And you haven't been, a policeman hasn't knocked on the window yet. I'm very happy to see that.
And I haven't got a parking ticket, so we're all good.
we're gonna have to wind it down. There were so many more wonderful questions, but I think you've covered this wonderful program coming up beautifully for us.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
So I'm speaking with Yuel Yawney, violin 2 in the Borealis String Quartet, and I now will finally mention his colleagues, Patricia Shi, violin 1, Nikita Pogrebnoy, I hope I pronounced that properly, viola, and Song-Myung Lim, cello. The performance is coming up Santa Barbara, Mary Craig Auditorium, beautiful little chamber music room, 7:30 p.m. Thursday, March 31st. That's I don't know, going on a couple weeks from now. Tickets $18 for members of the Museum of Art, $22 for outsiders and outlanders, but they can always join the Museum of Art. Online, sbma.net for tickets, sbma.net. Takes you right to the website. You can buy your tickets online or call in the Santa Barbara area code 805-884-6423. Vancouver-based, that's a city. I love Vancouver. Borealis String Quartet. The name? You had an event. You saw something, an epiphany. You all saw a Borealis. What?
Oh, well, no, we didn't actually simultaneously. That would have been something, but yeah, no, it's a symbol of the North, and as we're a Canadian quartet, it seemed a fitting name for us, and it's also the aspect of color and sound is something that we strive for. People oftentimes think of music in terms of variety of sounds that are produced, and color can be an aspect of that. So the Aurora Borealis is, of course, a beautiful, spectacular demonstration of color. So those were the motives for choosing the name.
Good. I had to ask. Couldn't suit you better. Yuel Yawney, violinist, Borealis String Quartet, coming to Santa Barbara Thursday, March 31st. Thank you very much indeed for pulling over and having one of the best chats we've had in a long time. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Dan. Thank you so much for having me.
Right on. Bye-bye.